Welcome aboard, folks. And here we are on another Sunday. I tell you, time is really flying. I certainly appreciate you coming and listening to the show, taking your time out to listen to patriots, to listen to people that love America, that have fought for America. And we have a special guest today. I'm very, very proud to have a shipmate. Joe Lentini is on the line. And I'm going to get with Joe in just a minute. Now, Joe was a communications technician. What we called on board the USS Liberty were spooks. But I'll get with Joe in just a minute, but I have to do some USS Liberty business, as I always do. So hang on, Joe. We'll be right with you. Thanks a lot for being on Your Voice Counts. First of all, folks, you know, I always, on this show, let everybody know why I do it. We have a lot of new listeners that don't know why, or if they've never heard of the show. Or the reason I do it is this. I was aboard the ship USS Liberty when it was attacked by the State of Israel in a sneak attack. 34 of my shipmates were slaughtered that day. 25 of them in the torpedo spaces where my guest today, Joe Lentini, was. I'm never going to forget these fellas because they wouldn't forget me. I know they wouldn't. I don't forget about the 174 others that were wounded. And I certainly don't forget their families. Even more so, I don't forget our government recalling their rescue aircraft when perhaps, more than likely, they could have prevented the torpedo attack and 25 Americans would still be alive, God willing. But that didn't happen. We got a message out to the 6th Fleet. We were under attack within 15 minutes as the attack began. They sent rescue aircraft. I know off USS Saratoga. I was told that personally by Captain Tully and by the USS America. They were all recalled, and they left us out there to let Israel do as they pleased. Well, they did. As I said before, they slaughtered 34 Americans doing their jobs in international waters. We had over 850 cannon rocket holes in our ship, a 40 by something torpedo hole put in our ship, 40 by 40 some, 40 by 27. It really doesn't make any difference. The damage was there. They continued to fire at us as we were putting over our life rafts, the part of the most seriously wounded in them. The 3 torpedo gunboats did. They shot 2 of them out of the water and took 1 aboard the boat. So that's what happened, folks, in a nutshell, in about a 2-hour attack, lasting as long as the attack on Pearl Harbor. We were by ourselves alone. By the grace of God and good seamanship, we stayed afloat. I also want to thank RBN, Real Talk, Real People, Real News, because you can handle the truth. John Statmeller and I go quite a ways back now, since I was doing a show with my co-host, Mark Glenn. It was the Liberty Hour. But now I got my own show. I've been on this show for about 3 years, and I certainly appreciate it. And, of course, Sam, our board operator today, a professional, none better than him. Glad to have Sam working my show. And, folks, when the music comes on, which it will in just a second, excuse me, I got to go to a break. Support your sponsors at RBN. They certainly will appreciate it. And thank you again to John Statmiller for not forgetting or forsaking or leaving the USS Liberty crew behind. It's a great honor to be on this great broadcasting radio show. Support your sponsors, please. Be right back.
There were too many errors and too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late for liberty.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have 0 side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. Terravim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TerraVim.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
Now more than ever, killing many viruses and bacteria in our homes and at work is important. With the flu epidemic running rampant, you need to protect yourself and your family the best you can with purified air. Our air purifiers not only kill many viruses and bacteria in the air, but on surfaces too. Our air purifiers will also kill molds, fungi, mildew, oxidizes chemical fumes and toxic gases, removes dust, pollen, pet odors, and smoke. We have portable units, HVAC and industrial size units. In our homes today, protect your family the best you can by calling 1-877-605-9200 or go to our online store at republicbroadcasting.org. Call today to receive your 10% off and free shipping on any home unit. 1-877-605-9200.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Well, the time is finally come for the story to be told. That should have been listened to a long time ago. In 1967, on the 8th day.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. Phil Tourney here from the great state of Colorado, USS Liberty survivor, and very proud of it. Very, very proud to be part of the crew of the USS Liberty. I'm going to get Joe on in just 1 second, but first I have to thank three people that are very, very dear to my heart. Kat Faber, the beautiful, beautiful voice you hear that does the songs. What a wonderful woman she is. Just outstanding, beautiful person. She also produces my show and gets on great guests. And if you've listened to my show at any length of time, you know we've had on many great people, senators, congressmen, people that want to tell the truth, architects, engineers, on and on and on. You name it, we've had them on this radio show. Some very respectful, honest, and God-fearing people that love America and want the truth out about the USS Liberty. And I respect that deeply, as I respect Joe Lentini for coming on air. I always love to have survivors on the show because they were there, and they can talk about what they saw that day. And I wrote a book about that, what I saw that day. But Joe can tell his own story. And I want to thank Ron Kukl especially. Ron Kukl was also a communications technician aboard the Liberty. He was a first-class spook, and he was in charge of body recovery and identification when we got into Malta. And a very, very special thanks to a dear friend, a former intelligence officer aboard the USS Liberty, Mr. John Gadusco. No finer officer has ever sailed the seas than John, and a fine officer the man was, believe me. I've heard nothing but great things about John. I didn't work for John, didn't hardly know John, but I've come to respect the man more than most. Now you can go to John's site. It's tinyurl.com/USS Liberty. If you want to learn all about the USS Liberty and related items, go to tinyurl.com/USS Liberty and get the real truth out about the USS Liberty and learn a lot. There's a lot of interesting things on there, folks, that you'd be more than interested listening to by voice or reading. He has YouTubes on there also. So it's a very well done site. I recommend it wholeheartedly. Now, Joe Lentini was a communications technician aboard the USS Liberty. And I don't know many men. Well, of course, we all survived the torpedo attack, but I was not in the spaces, the communication spaces where Joe was when the torpedo hit. That's where 25 of his mates were blown to bits. But you have to remember, the USS Liberty was 2/3 of the crew were communication technicians. And I was in ship's company, and Joe was in the spook department, the spy department. And actually, we were kind of two different ships. You had the spooks, and then you had ship's company. And ship's company's job was this, and his only job was to make sure that the CTs got where they had to go, and they got there very comfortably. And we did our best to do that. And it was the CTs didn't talk to us, and we didn't talk to them, which is too bad. I wish they would have given us a little bit of coordination or communication to tell us exactly what was going on, because it was kind of I can't explain it other than it was just two different crews aboard one ship. And I think Joe can highlight that on also. But Joe served 29 and a half years of his life serving his country, both as a communications specialist and a computer specialist for the Department of Veterans Affairs. He's received many honors. He spent most of his life working and helping the United States government, which is very honorable in itself. Joe was an E6 when he was medically retired from the United States Navy, and then he made E7 after he got out. He was honored with making Chief Petty Officer, which is very unusual, but it was an honor bestowed on him, and it was greatly deserved by Joe. So he made a Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy with not even being in, but the chiefs and the people that pulled the strings wanted to make sure that he got his day, because Joe was going to make it a career and probably would have become an officer in the United States Navy, as Ron Kukla would if he would have stayed in. Now, Joe received the Purple Heart, of course, Presidential Unit Citation, Combat Action Ribbon, and a Good Conduct Medal. That's one medal I never did get. It's a Good Conduct Medal. I wonder why. Maybe it was I was just a little bit too foolish as in my younger days. But Joe was hurt that day. It's a wonder he was even still alive today. You know, he had a punctured lung or a collapsed lung, a broken leg. His eardrums were blown in. I think he had head wounds. And, luckily he got evacuated from the ship the next day, a medevac to the USS America, I do believe. Joe Lentini, welcome to the show, sir, and respectfully, I'm glad to have you on board.
Geez, thank you. I don't know. I think I want to meet myself. Hey, I would like to comment something that I've never addressed, but it bears addressing. We were two crews on board that ship. There were those of us that did what I did and those of us that did what you did. And, I don't know, when we were on Liberty, we kind of lowered our guard a little bit, but doing what I did in the clandestine world of the 60s, we hung with each other so that if we made a slip, if we said something we shouldn't have, the only people that would hear it would be people that were cleared. But can you imagine, even the captain, when he first came aboard, our captain couldn't come into our spaces, and that didn't sit well with him at all, because it was his ship. But my hat's off to the guys that came up dirty and greasy and kept that ship moving so that we were on site to do the job we were tasked with. And so I just, my hat's off to all of you guys. We never even gave it any thought, which speaks to how well you did your job, because we didn't have to think about it. We knew we were going from point A to point B and that we would get there, and we didn't have to worry about how the car was driven, because we knew we had somebody driving it that would take care of it and keep the oil and the engine and everything else running. So thank you, guys. It's long overdue from me to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. It's appreciated very much. Thank you.
Well, in all fairness, for your listeners, there may have been a little friction between the ship's crew and the CTs, which are now cryptographic technicians. The CTs that were communication technician back then, we couldn't utter the word cryptographic in 1967. There might have been a little friction, if only because anytime anybody else from the ship's crew saw us, we were in spit-shine shoes, creased jeans, pressed shirts. If we didn't watch them, the laundry would even crease and press our underwear. Our berthing compartment was aft, right directly behind the chow hall. So all we had to do was stagger out the door, and we were ready to eat or watch a movie or play bingo. The ship's crew, on the other hand, was berthed in the bow, if you'll remember. And in rough weathers, it was ship up, ship down, boom. And anybody in that forward space got the heck beat out of them. We never really knew that. We didn't have to experience that, but on looking back and having made a lot of friends with ship's crew, I don't know how you guys ever did it, to be honest with you. That would have driven me crazy. But again, I had, as you've said, I was assigned in the middle compartments of the ship in the classified spaces, and that was the space that got hit by that torpedo after the jets had hit us. And I wouldn't be here today, but somebody stepped on my broken leg, and I groaned. They grabbed me and hauled me up the ladder, the only ladder out of the space. Fortunately, it was still there. And we're talking less than 100 feet from the hole where the torpedo came through. And the last time I read it, it was 30-foot by 35-foot teardrop-shaped below the waterline. It blew everything from the starboard side of the ship to compact it in the workspace I just stepped out of, compact it into a foot or two over on the other side of the ship, the port side. So, and that included the men that were in there. I don't envy anybody that had to go back down in there and get the body parts together and identify them and get them in bags, because that would have given me nightmares for the rest of my life, I'm sure.
Joe, I have to say something to you, and then we got a break here in 20 seconds, and I'll really get into it then. But you have to, you had to be there to realize it, folks. But the men in the CT spaces were below the waterline. They knew torpedoes were coming at them. We did have that announcement. Prepare for torpedo attack. Yes, and we'll get back into that in just a second. I want to tell you a couple things, but and then you can answer. But it was act of heroism and courage that you men stayed where you stayed and didn't leave the ship like a bunch of rats. And I have the greatest respect for all of you, as I do the engineers.
Ground beef, eggs, butter, cheese, soup, sandwiches, strawberries, ice cream, coffee, and more. What do these foods have in common? They all come in storable, long shelf life food for you to save and use in uncertain times. Rather, if it is a meal or a snack for a family or just yourself, CampingSurvival.com offers a huge variety of storable food for you to be prepared anytime. Go to CampingSurvival.com to order all your food. Eat today, save it for tomorrow, or store it for years to come. CampingSurvival.com sells healthy, nutritious, storable food in number 10 cans and pouches. Order online today at CampingSurvival.com. Use code FREEDOM and receive 5% off. CampingSurvival.com. Remember, save 5% off with code FREEDOM at CampingSurvival.com on all your prepared food needs.
Herbal Healer Spring Sale. 500 parts per million colloidal silver, all sizes. COQ10 with hawthorn, glucosamine chondroitin, sea cucumber, colloidal minerals, superfam and super male plaques, colon enhancer, our top-selling liquid, Cal Mag Vitamin D, MSM sulfur capsules, and elderberry power capsules. We also offer certificate correspondence courses in natural medicine. Free memberships and free online newsletters also available at herbalhealer.com. Herbal Healer has been serving the natural medicine industry for 25 years. This is a company you can count on. Visit herbalhealer.com today. herbalhealer.com. That's herbalhealer.com.
An effective 100% organic nutritional supplement is now available to be shipped out to you rush delivery. Heart and Body Extract is a 100% natural, organic, and wild-crafted formula made out of garlic, hawthorn berries, hawthorn leaves, coleus, motherwort, bilberry, butcher's broom kelp, mistletoe, ginger, and cayenne pepper. It is an excellent formula designed to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. Order your 2-month supply by visiting heartandbody.com or by calling 866-295-5305. 866-295-5305. Take the high road to a long and happy life. Heartandbody.com.
Well, finally, the officials back to Washington.
Welcome back, folks, to Your Voice Counts. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you'd like to call into the show, folks, and talk to my special guest, Joe Lentini, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. And Joe, I wanted to continue just a little bit here and give my greatest respect and honor to your mates and my mates that stayed in the fire room, Gary Brummett's crew, and did not leave their stations. And I was above deck. I was one deck above the torpedo where the torpedo hit, and you guys stayed there. And I can't imagine. One of my good friends I used to lift weights with is Philip Tahiki, and of course he died in the attack, in the torpedo explosion. But can you? I mean, nobody else can explain it better than a person who was there. What was it like to have a torpedo coming, or torpedoes, 5 of them come at you, and not want to get the hell out of there?
Well, okay. First off, I've given talks about the USS Liberty to all sorts of groups, church groups, military groups, active and retired. I even gave a very lengthy discussion of the USS Liberty at Fort Meade at the National Security Agency. And when I'm talking to military or people that understand the military way of life, I point out that where I was, in the below decks, in the comm center of the ship, the communications center of the ship, with other men whose average age was late teens to early 20s, because it's the young men that fight the wars, not the old farts.
Oh, wait a minute. Ron Kugel was down there with you, though.
Oh, well, there are a few exceptions. He's going to get you for that. Anyway, what I tell them, especially when I'm talking to the officers, is the importance of command control. And when I'm talking to enlisted, I talk about the importance of training. And those three things, command control and training, are what kept our young men standing where they were supposed to be and not running around like they were going crazy and out of fear or anything else. The one way to beat fear in a war situation proved itself on the USS Liberty on the 8th of June in '67. We didn't know what was happening. We just knew we were being attacked. And I've not heard any stories of people who didn't do the job that they were paid to do. And that's the training. And I would say that is why. We didn't know how many torpedoes were coming. We heard prepare for torpedo attack. I'm not even certain that they even said port or starboard side. But we did hear that. I had just stepped out the door to the comm center into the hallway or passageway by the only ladder out of there to get a wound bandaged. It was a concussion blast on my upper leg. Had I not done that, I wouldn't be talking to you and to the folks on the air right now, because I would have been in that space when the torpedo entered, and people that saw it entered the ship, and then count 10, and then it blew up. People, our shipmates are alive today that tell of seeing that thing come through. Now, only one hit us, but keep in mind it was 1967, and tracking hot electronics and some of the other things that we can do today, they couldn't do so well back then. But the men on board that ship deserved as much or more than they got in the way of recognition for bravery. Or, when you look at bravery from a military standpoint, the Medal of Honor is awarded to guys who did something absolutely bizarre, crazy, perhaps even stupid, and they got by with it, like charging a machine gun nest by themselves and doing crazy stuff like that. Our guys were only doing their job, but they did their job in spite of what was certain death and turned out to be death, although I really don't believe. The last time I saw the men in my space, the CTs that were trying to get communications to cry out for help and to let people know we were under attack, the last time I saw those men breathing, they were doing their job. The maintenance men were destroying some of the classified equipment and having a ball at it. They were laughing and joking in the spite of the explosions that we were hearing, the cannon fire that we were hearing going down the deck above us. You guys that were anywhere near topside and could see what was happening, it was a whole different ball game. We couldn't see it, but we could hear it, and that had its own fear factor, if you like. I'd love to answer questions about before the attack, during the attack, or after the attack. And for anyone that has any doubt, I can tell you that having viewed pictures of the damage done to our ship, any fighter pilot, Marine Corps, Navy, Army, any fighter pilot I have ever spoken with, and I've spoken to a large number of them, that there is no way that the pilots flying at the speed they were flying could have hit the targets that they hit unless they had been prepared and had seen photographs.
Joe, here comes the music. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We got some people calling in, wants to talk to you.
Good.
Hang on, shipmate. We'll get right back to you.
And too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late for liberty.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What do you need? You need Paracord. CampingSurvival.com is providing you U.S. military 550 Paracord. 550 tensile strength, military specifications. Made in the USA. Available in 3,000, 1,000, 600, 300, 150 links. You can purchase yours now at campingsurvival.com. Lowest prices on paracord. Huge selection. All ready to be shipped. Black paracord, 1,000 feet. Only $39.83 right now on campingsurvival.com. But wait, use the code FREEDOM when purchasing and save 5% off. Paracord is a unique material used for many different reasons. Get yours from campingsurvival.com now. Confidence born of preparation. campingsurvival.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
The free and independent states of America were born July 4th, 1776. The 56 delegates signed the Declaration of Independence. Congress ordered it engrossed, sent to the several assemblies, conventions, committees, councils of safety, and several commanding officers of the Continental Army. After the war, several nations traded with the free United States of America. Any agency, officer, or employee acting as if the Declaration were void or obsolete is without the right and the consent. They place themselves as an equal to the Creator and are warring with Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution and with the people. Our grand jury has been destroyed without the consent or the right. Return the grand jury customarily impaneled by the elected county sheriff and one where people can appear with information. McGilvery Machine Company, Reading, Michigan.
They said that Israeli forces.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. Hi, folks. Thanks again for joining in. And we got a whole lineup of people that want to get on air, and we're going to get them all on air because that is part of my job here. But I do want to say one thing real quick before we get to our callers, is that Joe and I went to the State Department when Judge Crystal's book first came out, and we were standing outside with Pat Blue Rashakas, and Joe and I were just talking a little bit, and Joe says, well, listen, if you're going to have to be pretty hot on your feet if you're going to get to the mic before I do. Well, he was right. And Joe got to speak first. They would never let me speak. They cut me off at the mic, and I know you remember that, Joe. But I also remember what you told Judge Crystal. You are not my friend. I didn't help you with this book, as he claimed that you were his best buddy. And it did. You know, I was very proud of what you said and did, but I was very disappointed in our own State Department. Yep. As being president of the Liberty Veterans Association, they wouldn't give me my day in court or a few minutes to speak.
For the people who weren't there, the State Department prior to that day, it was a whole day devoted to the Middle East. The first half of the very first meeting that they held was going to be a panel discussing the assault on the USS Liberty, and it had one panel member that really cared about the truth of the matter, and three that represented the state of Israel. They had already made up their minds, it turned out. I've heard since then from people who would know that in the State Department. They had already made up their minds to find that the attack on the Liberty was a mistake. The only way it was a mistake would be the same way it would be a mistake if I went in and tried to rob the bank. That's a mistake. It wasn't in error. They never said it was an error. They said it was a mistake. And you have to check your dictionary, but yeah, it was a mistake, all right. They promised me, the State Department promised me, that I and any other crew members would have their chance at the mic to say what they wanted to say. But if you'll recall, when I got up to that microphone, the moderator said, "Okay, what's your question? One question."
Absolutely.
How do you ask one question when everything that has been said up to that point was total malarkey? Had no bearing in fact. None at all, actually. So it's a wonder any of us were even allowed to the microphone.
Well, I'm glad you got through, Joe, because you were the only person that did. And when I got up to the mic, they cut me off. Susser did. I'll never forget that. I was very disappointed. I flew all the way from Colorado to get out there to try to get the USS Liberty sides in it. The only good thing that happened that day was we did have a friend there that did read Captain Boston's declaration that the attack on the USS Liberty was a complete cover-up from the get-go, and that was the only good thing that came out of it. Now, Joe, we have so many callers on, but I always go to I go to survivors first. I'm going to go to a survivor, Ron, in Wyoming. Come on, Ron. We got a lot of people on air. Thanks for coming on board, boy.
Hey,
Thank you very much. A couple of things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Republic Broadcasting Network. You know, I've been listening to this show for a long time, and I never could hear Cat's music as good as I can hear it now. So who's ever behind that, Godspeed, because this is a clear radio show, and I just love it. Secondly, when I spoke at the Navy Ball, at Goodfellow Air Force Base in 2003, I brought up exactly the same things that Joe did. The training, I said it over and over again. You don't have to change a thing. It's perfect. Nobody moved a muscle when we knew the torpedoes were coming. We knew about watertight integrity. We knew what we had to do to maintain that. The training, you guys, whoever were wearing the gold braid around your sleeves back then, I commend you for everything because you thought of it all, and we're here because of that. And I'm not even going to say a thing about my age because you already said that, Phil.
Hey, you also got to admit, I was on board with two captains, and the previous captain, we were the CTs, and he pretty much left us alone. Captain McGonigal came aboard, and he insisted that all men on board that ship, officer and enlisted alike, would be trained and would be trained as crew members. We had the only doctor on board, the only doctor that I've ever found in the Navy yet that was qualified to stand deck watches and did. All of our guys, when we would rather be having a beer when we were in port in Norfolk, we were in training.
Amen to that.
We might have complained about it a little, or maybe even a lot, but when the chips were down, as you just said, we knew what to do. And so there wasn't any ship-wide panic. Everybody knew what to do, like being on a submarine where everybody knew everybody else's job.
Joe, I might add something onto that you may or may not know. I'm in conversation, and have been for the last month or two, with an ensign in the United States Navy Reserve, active right now, who has told me specifically that they are using the Liberty and the Pueblo as an instruction and in training. And I won't even mention the class. Maybe I'm not supposed to. She said it's not classified. But I'm talking to active people right now that say we're being used as a fine example of how to keep a ship afloat when things are tough.
I'm hoping that I can get together with somebody in Annapolis, anybody that can bring some of us in to augment that class and focus on command and training.
Amen.
You know, so let's hope, but I absolutely agree.
Okay, Joe, look, God bless you for everything you've done. You're a very active person. I have the deepest respect for you, the deepest respect for Phil, and if I could rename you, maybe I'd name one John Hancock and the other one Thomas Jefferson. Hell, I don't know.
Thank you, Ron.
God bless you, Joe, and you too, Phil.
You too, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for calling in. Always appreciate having a shipmate call in. Very dear friend, a guy, very good person, I'll tell you. We got Larry Broyles in Alabama. Larry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing? What would you like to say to our guest? And I hope you two meet here on the May the 28th, because I know you're going to get your citations down.
Tell people who he is, what ship he was on, and what it had to do with the Liberty. Would somebody please?
Absolutely. I thought Larry was going to go ahead and say that, but I'll do it for him. Larry was one of the first responders that came to our aid from the USS Davis 937. He helped with, evacuating people, for definitive care aboard the USS America. And perhaps he had his hands on your gurney. Who knows, Joe? But
I know they highline stuff back just like real Navy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Larry and his crewmates, and I went with him. I was down there when we shored up the bulkheads, and they locked us in there, and God willing that the bulkhead didn't break, and that it killed us all, probably sunk the ship, no doubt. But Larry is a very brave man and a good friend and a respected United States Navy veteran, and he retired from the United States Army. Please go ahead, Larry.
Well, Joe, it's an honor for me to talk to you, and it will be even a greater honor if you would be our guest host with the VFW meeting in May 28th, so that you will be at the presentations of the USS Liberty awards that I will be presented. As far as I know, I am probably the first enlisted to ever be awarded the Combat Action and the Presidential Unit Citation Awards.
Well, after 40-some years, it's about darn time, isn't it?
Yes.
I've talked to some of the survivors of the Liberty that apparently either saw or had to go between the ships on that High Line.
Yes.
That was more traumatic, according to the way they tell it, than the attack on the ship was. You can relate to that. You're dangling between two ships that may or may not collapse into each other, and you're between them on a line in a little basket trying to get from one ship to the other. Mercy sakes. But my wife and I will be there with bells on, my friend.
Well, it's an honor because I have mentioned to Phil and Ron before that it would be one of the greatest honors I could ever have was to have a Liberty survivor to be at this presentation, because as far as I'm concerned, the Liberty and the Liberty crew will be my shipmates forever.
Yes, sir.
They are eternally in my heart.
It goes both ways, and just for people who are listening that have had military action incidents in their lives can relate to this. After the attack on the ship, my personal family, and this is true of every survivor, our personal families grew by hundreds. I ended up on a first-name basis with the captain of the ship. That never would have normally happened. You guys, the fellows from the Davis, people that I met at Fort Meade after I was out of the service. The family, it's more than the Navy family that takes care of its own. It was an even bigger family that has existed for over 40 years now. It didn't just come in one day and go out. This thing has gone on for over 40 years, and these people still consider each other brothers.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely telling the truth on that. It's never gone from my heart or my mind. June 8th, June the 9th, 1967. It's mentioned that some of the Davis crew, when we boarded the USS Liberty, we were angry, but we had tears in our eyes.
I believe it.
So I'll have to second that, and we've all been drawn very close after a hostile attack. But God was with us, and we shored those bulkheads, and we got everything ready so we could travel.
It kept the ship afloat in a very at a time when it should not have stayed afloat. I gotta say, for those people who are listening, check your history books. This has never happened before or since. The closest thing to what happened to us was the Remember the Maine, and we went to war over that, and come to find out in more modern time that it was our own people blowing up the Maine. It wasn't the Cubans. Having said that, here we are, the USS Liberty, and 40-some years later, there's history written that tells exactly what happened and exactly how it happened and who was at fault and how and why, and there's still a group of people that deny it to this day.
Well,
you know,
go ahead.
I just want to jump in and say, Larry, you're going to have a fellow there, Joe, that's going to be able to enlighten and bring to tears many people that honor you that night. And I know you're going to be you're going to get a promotion as district commander of your post at the VFW, and that's very commendable.
And I'll be calling you tonight.
Okay, Joe. Listen, it's an honor to talk to you, and thank you for all your services to the United States.
Well, right back at you, and God bless Tennessee.
That's exactly right. God bless you and the Liberty. Bye-bye.
Okay, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Right. Bye.
Thank you, Larry. God bless you, too, and we'll be keeping in touch as we always do. Okay, now I think we have, Sam, I think we have Kent in West Virginia. Is he up next?
Yeah, hey, hi. I've often wondered, how the people that seem to be perpetrating these things here lately, and I'm possibly back then too, seem to pick targets for their symbolism. The Patriots' Day, the World Trade Center, and I've often wondered that this might reflect how deep and how back the planning for the attack on the Liberty went. The name, there must have been more than one intelligence ship, but they chose the one with the name of Liberty, like the Statue of Liberty, the floating Statue of Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
So that if the deed had been accomplished, the propaganda value of that would have been infinitely more, would have tripped off the tongues of Americans, like they hate us for our freedom, or they attacked our liberty, which is a lot more propaganda value than, say, the Pueblo, though, God bless the people in Pueblo.
I don't for a minute think that it was an accident that the trade towers were hit on 911, since that is our universal call for help number. If you go back, and I agree with what you're saying, Ken, and it's funny, in all these years, you're the first person that I've heard bring that up. The date, the 8th of June. Just do a Google search on June of any year and back in history, and it's amazing within the first 10 days of June how many things, military actions took place, and how many black ops types things took place. So I think the date was critical for the Liberty's attack. The Israelis had not taken the Palestinian land at that time, and we were sitting right there, and they knew everybody, the Russians, the Arabs, and the Israelis, and the French, and anybody else that was in the Med that wonderful day. Everybody knew what we were and what we did. It was even in Jane's fighting ships. All they had to do was open it up and look. Our cover story, I don't know, as a young man, I believe that we had a cover story. We were studying radio wave propagation, but if you look it up, it pretty well clearly tells you that we were an intelligence-gathering vessel, which surprised me when I was long out of the service, and I said, well, geez, why were we trying to hide it then? It's right there for everybody to see. The timing was critical. Back then, the USS Liberty sailed independently, and yes, there were other ships. The reason the other ships weren't hit is because they weren't in the Med that day. The Liberty was.
Here comes that music, gentlemen. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Yeah, thank you.
It's a valid point, and one that historians ought to take a close look at just to see what all's taken place back then. Go for the music.
Okay, guys, support your sponsors on RBN, because you can't handle the truth. The best radio station that I know of.
Golden Stag Safaris invites you to hunt in one of Argentina's most beautiful scenarios. Enjoy the quietness of a pampas and the 5-star accommodation lodge. Excellent food and wine included in your stay. All the while hunting big game in the Argentine Valley, an area known for having a wide range of game, excellent trophies, the biggest stags in South America, as well as many other species. All gold medal quality. One-on-one guided hunts, rental guns available with the highest quality scopes in every caliber, Land Rovers for transport, pick up at Buenos Aires Airport, and a private aircraft for charter is all available. Go to www.goldenstagsafaris.com to see photos and for more information. Again, www.goldenstagsafaris.com.
Time to relax and unwind. What better way to do so than with Santa Barbara Bells? For over 25 years, our wind chimes have been helping people to relax and enjoy life. Turn your home environment into a pleasurable experience. From the small overture chime to the large super bass, you will find just the right chime to enjoy. All wood, strings, and cordage are protected for long life, and all parts are rust-proof. You have 10 sizes to choose from. To see and hear more of the chimes, go to santabarbarabells.com or call us at 805-733-1513. Santa Barbara Bells is currently having a springtime sale. Come to the website and save up to 50% on all of our chimes. santabarbarabells.com.
With financial uncertainty circling the globe due to job losses, decline in the housing market, a climate of corruption, bailouts, currency rigging, and unfair competition, many are once more turning to precious metals as the only hedge against the uncertainty of the future. With the U.S. House conducting hearings on proposals to confiscate workers' personal retirement accounts, including 401ks and IRAs, this is the time to secure your assets. Call Republic Trading Group today, 800-691-7898 before this happens, and find out how easy it is to convert your existing IRA and in some instances your 401k plan into real wealth now. Don't let the ravages of hyperinflation caused by the massive increase of fiat currency now flooding world markets affect your retirement account. Call RTG at 800-691-7898 and experience the security and peace of mind that only real gold and silver can offer. That number again is 800-691-7898. Call now.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to the last few minutes of Your Voice Counts. And again, thank you very much for hanging on. And, the USS Liberty does have a lot of significance just by its name. The Valdez was in the area, in the Med. They told them to get out of there, and the Liberty was going one way, and all the ships were going the other. So yes, I think the Liberty, in my view, was set up to be sunk. And one more thing, fellas, here we are. Israel has just bombed Syria twice in 2 days or 3 days, and are we headed into, as Joe said, another June of conflict, horror, and war, and believe me, they're going to blame everything that happens in Syria on the United States because we back Israel. What are your thoughts on that?
You said that because when it happened, when I heard and read about the attacks hitting these arms supplies that are going to the Hezbollah, that to protect themselves, Israel has done this. There doesn't seem to be a cry against them for doing that. But I would put to your listeners, if you're a United States citizen and somebody from another country, for whatever reason, flew across our borders and dropped bombs in this country, what would we call it? Unless I've gone deaf, dumb, and blind in my years, we would call it an act of war, and we would respond. And yet it's not called an act of war. And when the Israelis overflew us a whole day, and then their pilots came in and knew exactly where their targets were and shot up our ship in an attempt to silence and sink it, it was called a mistake. The ship they said they thought we were was in port, had no guns, and yet the official story was those turkeys were coming in to defend the Israeli shore stations that were being shelled from the sea, which never took place. That was totally bogus. The ship they said they thought we were, that this country heard about, well, it was a mistaken identity in a war situation. There wasn't a war going on around us on June the 8th when we were attacked, and the ship that they said we were didn't even begin to look like us, other than it was a boat that floated on the water, and theirs was leaky, and it was in port, and it carried animals, and it had no guns at all. And we only had .450 caliber machine guns mounted on the ship and couldn't have been shelling either. And the pilots couldn't see that, I guess, but they could see well enough to hit our topside hatches, all 4 machine gun mounts, every antenna. Do I sound angry? I am, because for some reason Israel gets a bye. We wouldn't even get a bye. By we, I mean the United States of America. If we had done that, we wouldn't get a bye by making some false claim about a mistaken identity that makes no sense and holds no water.
Well, Joe, you're absolutely right. Angry, I am angry too, and you said it very, very well.
It was an act of war. In Syria, that was an act of war. Now, I'm not pro-Syrian or not. I could care less at this point. But what I do say is, let's call it what it was. Israel felt bad enough about it, they've declared war on Syria.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, God bless you for coming aboard. Thank you, Kent. I'm sorry we didn't have more time, folks. We'll get you back on. Real talk, real people, real news, because you can handle the truth on Your Voice Counts. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Why so many of my brothers died? Was the song sort of game of treason? Or was it just some kind of horrible lie? Time has finally come for the story to be told that should have been listened to a long time ago in 1967 on the 8th day.
Welcome back, folks. Here we go to Your Voice Counts. Phil Tourney here from the great state of Colorado, USS Liberty survivor. And very proud of it. Very, very proud to be part of the crew of the USS Liberty. I'm going to get Joe on in just 1 second, but first I have to thank 3 people that are very, very dear to my heart. Kat Faber, the beautiful, beautiful voice you hear that does the songs. What a wonderful woman she is. Just outstanding, beautiful person. She also produces my show and gets on great guests. And if you've listened to my show at any length of time, you know we've had on many great people, senators, congressmen, people that want to tell the truth, architects, engineers, on and on and on. You name it, we've had them on this radio show. Some very respectful, honest, and God-fearing people that love America and want the truth out about the USS Liberty. And I respect that deeply, as I respect Joe Lentini for coming on air. I always love to have survivors on the show because they were there, and they can talk about what they saw that day. And I wrote a book about that, what I saw that day. But Joe can tell his own story. Now I want to talk their families. Even more so, I don't forget our government recalling their rescue aircraft when perhaps, more than likely, they could have prevented the torpedo attack and 25 Americans would still be alive, God willing. But that didn't happen. We got a message out to the 6th Fleet. We were under attack within 15 minutes as the attack began. They sent rescue aircraft, I know, off USS Saratoga. I was told that personally by Captain Tully and by the USS America. They were all recalled, and they left us out there to let Israel do as they pleased. Well, they did. As I said before, they slaughtered 34 Americans doing their jobs in international waters. We had over 850 cannon rocket holes in our ship, a 40 by something torpedo hole put in our ship, 40 by 40, some 40 by 27. It really doesn't make any difference. The damage was there. They continued to fire at us as we were putting over our life rafts. The part of most seriously wounded in them. The 3 torpedo gunboats did. They shot 2 of them out of the water and took 1 aboard the boat. So that's what happened, folks, in a nutshell, in about a 2-hour attack, lasting long as the attack on Pearl Harbor. We were by ourselves alone. By the grace of God and good seamanship, we stayed afloat. I also want to thank RBN, Real Talk, Real People, Real News, because you can handle the truth. John Statmeller and I go quite a ways back now, since I was doing a show with my co-host, Mark Glenn. It was the Liberty Hour. But now I got my own show. I've been on this show for about 3 years.
Many viruses and bacteria in our homes and at work is important. With the flu epidemic running rampant, you need to protect yourself and your family the best you can with purified air. Our air purifiers not only kill many viruses and bacteria in the air, but on surfaces too. Our air purifiers will also kill molds, fungi, mildew, oxidizes chemical fumes and toxic gases, removes dust, pollen, pet odors, and smoke. We have portable units, HVAC and industrial size units. In our homes today, protect your family the best you can by calling 1-877-605-9200 or go to our online store at republicbroadcasting.org. Call today to receive your 10% off and free shipping on any home unit. 1-877-605-9200.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
She sailed in international waters, off the coast of Sinai, into the Mediterranean Sea.
Welcome aboard, folks. And here we are on another Sunday. I'll tell you, time is really flying. I certainly appreciate you coming and listening to the show, taking your time out to listen to patriots, to listen to people that love America, that have fought for America. And we have a special guest today. I'm very, very proud to have a shipmate. Joe Lentini is on the line, and I'm going to get with Joe in just a minute. Now, Joe was a communications technician, what we called on board the USS Liberty were spooks. But I'll get with Joe in just a minute, but I have to do some USS Liberty business, as I always do. So hang on, Joe. We'll be right with you. Thanks a lot for being on Your Voice Counts. First of all, folks, you know, I always, on this show, let everybody know why I do it. We have a lot of new listeners that don't know why, or if they've never heard of the show. Or the reason I do it is this. I was aboard the ship USS Liberty when it was attacked by the State of Israel in a sneak attack. 34 of my shipmates were slaughtered that day. 25 of them in their torpedo spaces, where my guest today, Joe Lentini, was. I'm never going to forget these fellas, because they wouldn't forget me. I know they wouldn't. I don't forget about the 174 others that were wounded. And I certainly don't forget, and I certainly appreciate it. And, of course, Sam, our board operator today, a professional, none better than him. Glad to have Sam working my show. And, folks, when the music comes on, which it will in just a second, excuse me, I got to go to a break. Support your sponsors at RBN. They certainly will appreciate it. And thank you again to John Statmiller for not forgetting or forsaking or leaving the USS Liberty crew behind. It's a great honor to be on this great broadcasting radio show. Support your sponsors, please. Be right back.
There were too many errors and too much time wasted. The bombs were coming down. It would be too late for liberty.
As many of you know, natural supplements are fantastic for your body and have zero side effects. You need to restore your body's natural balance. TerraVim strives to carry only the highest quality dietary supplements and natural vitamins that can be beneficial in helping your body recover from the impact of daily stress, allergens, illness, environmental pollution, and the aging process. Why buy from TerraVim? Simple. TerraVim provides a rewards program. Earn $1 for every $10 spent, free health consultations, free shipping on all orders, and an additional 10% discount on every order when you mention the coupon code RBN. Call 866-647-4372. That's 866-647-4372, or go to terravim.com. That's TerraVim.com. TerraVim, the best supplements on earth.
Now more than ever, killing